Welcome to Recap 4. In this recap, we will be going over the Saturday travel and history tips that cover trains, patriotism, engineering feats, and museums. Recap 1 took you on some unclassic road trips. Recap 2 told you about some food, adventure, and animals. And Recap 3 covered the videos on geographic and geologic gems and ghost towns. But now for Recap 4 and trains. We mentioned Mount Washington in geologic and geographic gems. Watch Part 1 and Part 2 of Cog Railway to go up this engineering feat, a historic Cog Railway train. And I want to encourage you to go and listen to Nuggets 175 through 177, where we interviewed a friend of ours, David Clifford, who is a machinist on the Cog Railway. And then Nuggets 214 through 216, where we interviewed a friend named Mike Ray, who is a carman on the railroad for you train fans. If you're in the South and anywhere near Louisiana, you might want to go to the Shreveport Railroad Museum. Even though it's very tiny, it is super packed with all kinds of exciting train memorabilia. Near the Lakes region in New Hampshire, there is the Silver Lake Railroad Station, a historic station that is actually now the town's post office. Outside, they have lots of different small train cars that you can look around. You're not supposed to get on them, though. And when we were there, we found one of the tiny libraries. And you'll remember I talked about these little tiny libraries in a previous recap. There are two Saturday travel and history tips on patriotism. One is about Flag Day, and the other is about 4th of July. And in those, we take you to the city of Philadelphia and to Mount Rushmore. As far as engineering feats, you'll want to watch the Saturday travel and history tip when we went to Delta, Utah to tour a power plant. This was an amazing trip. I'm not sure they even do tours anymore, but you can take a virtual tour with us while watching this tip. Adjacent to the Shreveport Railroad Museum is the City of Shreveport Department of Utilities McNeil Street Water Purification and Pumping Station, a National Historic Landmark. What a hidden treasure. This is definitely a great place to go to if you are, again, in that part of Louisiana, because it's like a double header, the Railroad Museum and this Waterworks Museum. Just an engineering marvel, and you'll want to watch that Saturday travel and history tip so you can see details of our visit to that site. And then there is the wonderful Hoover Dam that was built between 1931 and 1935. I think we actually went on one of the last tours right before COVID hit. We have also flown in a helicopter over Hoover Dam. It is a spectacular place to see. Okay, you won't want to miss this one. It's the one about the Kinzua Bridge, one of the craziest places we have ever been. It is a state park in north central Pennsylvania, and you will go out on the skywalk and look over the edge and see this collapsed viaduct. It is incredible. This was a tremendous engineering feat in its time. And just outside of Fort Worth is the Bureau of Engraving, where they print money. And they've been printing a lot of it lately, apparently. But you can take a tour there. You are not allowed to take pictures inside the plant. So we've actually been to the mint in Philadelphia where they mint coins. But this place is actually where they print money, and it is quite a thing to see for sure. And their gift shop is really cool. And I mentioned here about getting a postcard, and that's one of the things I mentioned in the Saturday Travel and History Tips. Get yourself a postcard when you go to a fun place and mail it back to yourself. And transitioning between engineering feats and museums, we have Chicago's Federal Reserve Money Museum, located in downtown Chicago. Even though it was small, it was packed full of information on the history of money, and they had all kinds of hands-on things to do. It's definitely a great stop when visiting the beautiful city of Chicago, which is packed with all kinds of wonderful things to do. And then we covered some museums, which we mentioned in the road trip recap, but I want to go into it a little bit differently now. This was our U.S. Highway Part 4 when we were in Oakley, Kansas, and we went to the Fick Fossil Museum. It's a small museum, but it has a lot of really good dinosaur fossils and Western history in it. And I do want to recommend that when you go through small towns, go ahead and check out the museums. We have found that some of the smaller museums in small towns have some of the best collections that you'll ever see. Also, along U.S. Highway 83 in Part 8, we mentioned the South Dakota State Historical Society Museum, where we saw the Verendrye plates. You'll really want to find that tip to find out, what are these Verendrye plates? This was an incredible museum with tons of historical artifacts. And then in U.S. Highway 83 Part 11, which was the conclusion of that exciting road trip series, we visited the North Dakota Heritage Center, a tremendous museum, and these state museums will always honor some of their favorite sons. And one of the famous people from North Dakota is Lawrence Welk. And I'm thinking a lot of you that are watching this or listening to this don't even know who Lawrence Welk was. But this museum had many different galleries, and we particularly enjoyed the one that had the dinosaur and mammoth fossils and gems. Of course, it is presented from an evolutionary viewpoint, but we certainly still enjoy the artifacts and items that are on display. American history. Learn it. Love it. Appreciate it. Don't let them steal our history. Treasure our American history. And I do want to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell. And remember to go to the different playlists. You can see some recipes that we've posted, our nuggets, of course, and as I'm focusing here in these recaps, the travel videos. Thank you.